there are two things that are really bugging us. It's the economy and COVID-19. Our economy is really down, as in down. So, the earlier na mabilisan itong vaccine, the better. Magkaroon na tayo ng stock ng 2 million, bitawan ko na. I will open the economy. Talagang hirap tayo. You know, people have to eat, people have to work, people have to pay for their upkeep. And the only way to do it is to open the economy and for businesses to regrow. Without that, patay talaga.
The news day continues here on One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. Let's check in with Greg Gregorio reporting live from the Lung Center of the Philippines in Quezon City to give us the latest updates on the hospital's vaccination program today. Greg, good afternoon. Could you tell us how many medical frontliners have been inoculated there at the Lung Center?
Charles, 20 health workers have been vaccinated here at the Lung Center of the Philippines for today's start of the government's vaccine rollout using Sinovac's COVID-19 vaccine. The first recipient of Sinovac's CoronaVac at the Lung Center of the Philippines is the head of their emergency room outpatient department, Dr. Eileen Aniceto. Aniceto admitted she also had hesitations taking the jab when she heard that it only gives 50.4% protection. But after learning that this efficacy was just against mild infection and far from the 100% protection against severe infection, then she decided to take it. For her, it is already a success after a challenging year battling the pandemic. She was among the 20 health workers who were given the first dose of Sinovac this morning. Lung Center of the Philippines Executive Director Vicente Balanag said 150 health workers have signed up for the Sinovac vaccines. He hopes that more of them will receive the shots. Health Secretary Francisco Duque, who administered the first vaccination here, assured health workers that this jab underwent thorough review by the country's panel of vaccine experts. Charles, the Lung Center received 600 doses of Sinovac vaccines. They target to finish vaccination of 300 individuals within the week. But if no more individuals would sign up for Sinovac, Dr. Balanag said they would just reserve 300 doses to use as second dose of this vaccine that is to be given after 4 weeks. Charles?
Thanks for that, Greg. That was Greg Gregorio reporting live from the Lung Center of the Philippines in Quezon City. President Duterte is seeing the Philippines going back to normal in about 2 years. The chief executive says we might have to wait until the second quarter of 2023 before we can return to the pre-pandemic way of life. He said the government will expedite its immunization program to achieve normalcy as soon as possible. On March 15, the country will mark 1 year since the first lockdown was imposed. Meanwhile, Duterte's back-to-normal projection may be considered optimistic. Recall that Bloomberg's vaccine calculator earlier projected that it would take 7 years for life to return to the pre-COVID normal.
In about maybe early year 2-3, not the 2-2. Ito ngayon hanggang katapusan ng buwan, paspasan tayo. Early the first, maybe first or second quarter of year 2023. Baka, tulong ng Diyos.
President Duterte has again rejected the resumption of face-to-face classes despite the arrival of vaccines. At last night's press conference, Duterte said now is not the time to resume physical classes as he does not want to, quote, put children in jeopardy. The palace had earlier said that Duterte is open to allow limited physical classes in low-risk areas by August if the country is already way ahead of its vaccination drive.
Alam mo, iba na yung decision, iba na yung maraming mamatay. I am not ready to lose the lives of our young people, our children.
COVID-19 vaccinations have also started over at the Jose Rodriguez Memorial Medical Center in Tala, Caloocan City. But the majority of the facility's health workers remain unwilling to receive Sinovac shots. To tell us exactly why, we have JC Cosico reporting live from Caloocan. JC, how are the inoculations going at Tala Hospital?
Charles, out of the over 1,100 personnel at the Tala Hospital here in Caloocan, only 178 patients are expected to receive COVID-19 shots from China's Sinovac today. COVID testings are in season are among those who led the inoculation at the medical center. Medical Chief Dr. Fritz from Miranda explained that employees' vaccine acceptance rate decreased as they initially expected the Pfizer jabs to arrive first. The administration is now conducting town hall meetings in a bid to increase the number of health workers to be vaccinated with the Sinovac. They have also prepared a quick substitution list to avoid wasting jabs in case some vaccinates back out. They received 600 doses of Sinovac vaccine, enough to inoculate 200 healthcare workers. Apart from Pamaran, testing Darwin Season are among the first persons to receive shots at Tala Hospital, as well as Samuel Sinilan, the medical center's chief of nursing service. The official also shared similar experiences on the vaccination process. They said they didn't experience any pain in the injection area. These will also urge other healthcare workers to receive Sinovac jabs, saying this will give them overall protection against getting severe COVID-19 and will also provide a 50% protection from mild COVID and 60 to 70% for moderate infection. Charles, those who received the vaccines today will be monitored over the next 2 weeks before receiving the second dose on March 29. Pamaran says other healthcare workers willing to receive a Sinovac jab but are not on today's list will be accommodated tomorrow. Back to you.
Thanks for that, JC. That was JC Cosico reporting live from Caloocan. We'll be back with more stories after a quick break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. Veterans Memorial Medical Center also conducted a ceremonial vaccination program earlier today to mark the start of our country's recovery from COVID-19. Romel Lopez is reporting to us live from Veterans Memorial in Quezon City to give us details. So Romel, how did the first vaccination go at the VMMC?
Charles, the medical personnel of the Veterans Memorial Medical Center, or the VMMC, were the first ones to be inoculated at the hospital as the simultaneous vaccination program of the government began today. Gemma Colcol, a nurse, is the first one to receive a dose of Sinovac Coronavac shot here in VMMC. The atmosphere was very lively as the most anticipated inoculation finally began. Some doctors and office workers of the hospital participated as well. Gemma felt well enough after being vaccinated, but protocol dictates that she will have to be monitored for a while before she can return to work. Secretary Carlo Nograles and Carlito Galvez were the top officials to witness the event. According to Secretary Nograles, this is the continuation of our medical personnel sacrifice against COVID-19. According to Secretary Lorenzano, 100,000 of those Sinovac doses were allotted to the Armed Forces of the Philippines. 30,000 of these doses will be utilized by civilian employees of the DND, including their medical frontliners, while the Veteran Memorial Medical Center targets to inoculate at least 1,000 of its employees. Charles, the vaccination of VMMC personnel continues up to now. The hospital director says that they will try to finish the inoculation as soon as possible or possibly within the week, so that if warranted, the vaccinees can readily support the government's mass vaccination program. Charles?
Thanks for that, Romel. That was Romel Lopez reporting live from the Veterans Memorial Medical Center in Quezon City. More officials and frontliners in the metro are receiving COVID-19 shots. To give us updates on inoculations over at the V. Luna Medical Center in Quezon City, we have with us Laila Pangilinan. She is reporting live from Quezon City. Laila, what's the latest?
Charles, the ceremonial vaccination here at the V. Luna Medical Center transpired a little bit before lunch today. Top 3 officials of the hospital, along with 27 other frontliners, were vaccinated with their first dose of the Sinovac shot. Among those who graced the ceremonial vaccination are Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana, AFP Chief Cirilito Sabehana, Health Secretary Francisco Duque III, IATF Chair Carlo Nograles, and Quezon City Mayor Joy Belmonte. Despite earlier announcements, Duque did not receive the Sinovac shot due to age restrictions under its EUA. Lorenzana, meanwhile, announced that it is mandatory for all AFP personnel to get vaccinated as they are also in the front lines. Lorenzana also denied that mandatory vaccination is unfair. The DND chief believes soldiers should be doing as they are told. If some AFP personnel don't want to receive their free Sinovac jab, they will have to pay for the vaccine brand that they prefer. Quezon City Mayor Joy Belmonte, on the other hand, said that the Sinovac vaccine was only demonized because of its efficacy to the point that no one seems to want it. But the QC mayor said that a vaccine, no matter what the brand, can still provide protection from the deadly virus. Charles, Health Secretary Duque said that the agency will observe if more people are now willing to be vaccinated as officials have taken the lead. As for Secretary Nograles, on the other hand, said that he is confident that after the preliminary vaccinations, more and more people will be willing to receive their first jab of Sinovac. That's the latest here. Charles, back to you.
Thank you, Laila Pangilinan, reporting live from QC. And those are the top stories of the hour. Join Sean Yao later at 2 p.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Just register for a free account at www.signalplay.com so you can stream One News live anytime and anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. We are One News.